Hey everyone, my name is Scott Corbett. I'm a freshman at UMD studying computer engineering, and today I'm going to show you the basics to Vex BattleBots. So, when you want to create your first robot, the first and most important thing to have is a stable chassis, which is kind of like the base of the robot. It's where you're going to attach all your motors and all your other devices to there, all your little weapons when you're trying to destroy everyone else. So, first, we have these L brackets. There's many different shapes that you want, but usually you either want to grab aluminum or one of the steel pieces that you see in front of you, and you want to start creating a base, usually a rectangular base. They have the most support. So you could start with one of these and make sure you could start getting all four together. So you'll have one here, grab the other one and try and line them up a little bit, get your shape going. And this is where you want to kind of plan out where everything you're going to have. You grab all your pieces and go ahead and start trying to just make a little box. See how big you want your robot. If you have any plans, because I know some of you are already coming into this, they're like, oh, I got something planned. This is where you want to start thinking about that. So once you have all your pieces decided where you want them to have, just as a base, you want to be getting your screws and grab one of the nuts and just start going to each corner and screwing them all in. It doesn't have to be a necessarily tight fit, but you want to at least get the structure of your robot done. You can use some of the hex nuts because they're a little bit easier to put on and take off. So just for prototyping and doing your first designs, that's probably the best thing you can do. The next thing you want to start looking at is how are you going to get your motors on. Your robot needs to move unless you're going with a little weirder of a design, but usually you want them to move. So we have these 4.8 and 8.4 volt motors. Usually you can go with the 8.4 volts because they're a little bit easier, more common to work with. And you just want to line them up one on each corner and make sure they have this little socket here that you can see on the end. Make sure that's sticking towards the inside or somewhere that you're going to have the brain of your robot. Line those all up and just keep them there. Find a good place you want to have them and make sure you know what you want to do for your brain. Now, the brain. All of your kits will have these brains and they have all these ports. All these ports are connected to the motors. Everything's already made for you. It's very easy to set up. You can just plug them all in. So grab the cords, plug in your motors. So grab one here, plug it on this end, grab your brain, plug it on the other end, and you're getting one step closer to building your first robot. Now, you need to make sure that your motors can actually turn your robot. So you can grab one of these black brackets. You can see them right here where an axle is supposed to go. Now, an axle is a spinning piece of metal, which is going to be spinning your robot from the motor. So get your motors on the inside, so you have them all like this, as shown, and grab one of these axles and put them into the little sockets of the motors and make sure they're going through your chassis or the base of your robot and through the motors. And now you want to pick out your wheels. When you have that all set up, as you shown here, this is our next step. We have the body, the axles, and the motors, and the brain we just kind of have floating around right now. Now grab your wheels and these little locks. These little locks, now they have hex keys. You need hex keys to kind of turn the little locks inside of them to tighten them, because these are going to be what's going to be keeping your wheels intact from shifting around or sliding out. Because you have all your motors screwed in. Now put a one lock through the axle that you have here. So we have our axle. You're going to put one lock, put the wheel on, and then we're going to get this other lock and put them there and figure out where you want it. Grab one of the hex keys and tighten that a little bit. Make sure it's tightened on both ends and make sure you can wiggle it around a little bit and there's no movement. And now continue doing that for the rest of your robot. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to tell you about the brain. So the brain is going to be connected to this software that you have, which you can write in block code, or if you have a little bit of experience, you can write in C++ that Vex uses. And if you pull up on your laptops, any of you who's supposed to be the coder in the group, you can open these up and just start looking, because there's like drive forward and all these basic little designs. So when I'm showing you through the software right here, you can see there's drive commands and drivetrain set up. So none of your motors are going to actually work unless you set up a drivetrain. Now you can do this custom, which I can show you later on. But for a basis, you just want to click the basic drivetrain setup and choose your front motors to the motors you have for the front, and your other motors for the other two motors that you have in the back. And once you have that all set up, now thankfully you're able to have a drivetrain set up. So Vex, you're able to just start plugging in a controller, hook it all up after you add this radio right here. The radio is to connect your controller to the brain of the robot, so you're able to control the robot wirelessly. And From there, you're able to move your robot around. So you want to find a good place, just screw in. They have these 2 little screws in the back. Just put in these just right on your chassis. I'm just having mine in this top corner. Here's my bracket. I'm having mine right here. And I'm putting the brain just in the center. It's not going to be weighted very well, but if you want, you can add some little other places. Do whatever you like, whatever's the most comfortable here. Just find a good place for your brain, because this brain is the most important part. And you got to keep that safe. If your brain's getting hit, wires could come out and your robot could get destroyed. And you want to be the winner. We know you guys love BattleBots, and you have to be the winner here. Protect your brain at all cost. So now you have all your motors set in, and you can see the motor select back on the program. Right here, you're going to be showing how to connect each motor up. In the drivetrain, you have to set them up, but you have to choose which motors are connected to which ports, because the brain has no idea which ones are connected. Only you do. So go ahead and set those all up, and you're good to go. Make sure you have a wire connecting your brain to the radio, and also the battery. The battery, if you want to weight on the other side of your robot, just to have weight a little bit better, you want it evenly distributed, or however you like, depending on what design you're going for. And plug this big chunky battery cord into your brain, and get your battery connected. First, you want to have one of your wires connected into the top of the controller, and then connect it into the brain. This is going to allow you to start hooking up your brain, so go ahead and do that. And if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Okay, to answer your question, that's a great question that you're asking where to put in the radio. So you want to have the radio at the bottom. They have this Ethernet cord, which is the cords you've been using all to connect everything for the most part. You want to plug that in and plug it into the side of your brain, and you should be good to go there. Okay, and we can continue on. So now that you have everything set up, you have your motors, they're all locked in, all the bodies built, and you have the brain set up with a little bit of code. So as everything, you need to be able to plug in and upload your code. So grab one of these other cords, these black cords, plug it into the side of your computer, and then plug it into the side of the brain, and then you should be able to upload your code as shown right here. So once your code is all uploaded, you're good to go. Start up that robot, and you can just click the basic drive function. Here on the controller, it'll show you a couple manuals. Some you'll be able to have to use another screen later on, because that's when you're going to have your custom code for like destroy, or whatever technology you guys come up with. And here you can just go with the basic thing, unplug your controller after everything's hooked up, make sure everything's connected. You're getting all green lights. If you need any help, I'll be walking around to help you guys. And go ahead, start driving it. Make sure you don't drive it off a table. But there you go, is our first robot. And while you guys are driving around and having a little bit of fun with that, to describe the rest of what you'll be doing, it's basically just adding more of these, adding different structures or whatever you want to create, and adding the motors, hooking them up, connecting them to the brain, connecting them to the computer, and making sure you have all your code set up. If you'd like, you can look through the code and just see you can turn like motor turn on when this is pressed. The block code is very simplistic to understand. It'll just like show you when this left controller is pressed. That's when it'll do this action. And that's Vex. I'm really excited to see what you guys are all going to be doing this whole summer camp, and I'm really happy to be here with all of you. I'm Scott Corbett, and I've done Vex for 3 years, and it's a really good experience when you guys are starting to get into high school. Try and look for any robotics team. It gives you a lot of opportunity. Thank you so much.